The Sorek Valley was enveloped in a heavy, whispering night. There was a woman who walked through the curtains of torches. Her beauty was a weapon honed by fate. Her name was Delilah. The Philistines came like the tide. No one can subdue him, but he has a weakness. A heart that longs to be known, to be loved. The Philistines, desperate to destroy their invincible Samson, devised a seductive plan, not of war, but of using gold to buy a seductive woman to seduce Samson. As the command rang in her ears as she approached the man whose power could overthrow a kingdom, and night after night, Delilah wove her spell. Laughter soothed his spirit and touched his heart, blinding his intellect, whispers that dimmed Samson's fate. And then Delilah captured Samson's heart. Delilah wanted to seduce him, break him in every way to know where Samson's strength came from. And Delilah whispered to Samson,
"Tell me, Samson, where does your strength lie?"
This is the untold story of how trust can be broken, how strength can be lost, not in battle, but in the arms of a woman. Delilah, the woman who made him lose everything. The land of Israel groaned under the iron grip of the Philistines. There are people wearing chains bumping on the street. The fear of hunger is worse than the smoke of a burnt offering. But among the suffering people, one man stood up. His name was Samson, chosen by God before birth. A Nazirite was set apart for a spiritual purpose. Endowed with unimaginable strength, he broke down city gates, defeated armies, and tore lions apart with his bare hands. His victories were praised throughout the valleys and mountains. Power breeds pride, and pride blinds him. Samson, strong but reckless, wandered far from his calling. He toys with danger, attracted by the beauty of seductive women, and Samson was getting closer and closer to the brink of destruction without even knowing it. The Philistines plotted secretly, and they plotted to choose a beautiful woman to seduce Samson. In the Sorek Valley, they found their answer. There was a woman of unsurpassed beauty, her charm as sharp as any blade. The Philistines said to her, if she could seduce him and find out the secret of his power, we would give her gold. And by torchlight and mist, Delilah accepted her mission. Delilah. She needed no sword, no spear, just a smile, a whisper, a touch. Samson, unaware of the trap closing around him, willingly stepped into her arms, and the battle will no longer be fought with weapons and blood. A false love will take place, and she continued with her eyes, her laugh, and her sweet whispers. Night after night, beneath the muted glow of torchlight, Delilah wove her silent web. Samson, ever the mighty warrior, laughed easily, his heart warmed by the beauty before him, never sensing the trap tightening around his soul. Delilah smiled, teasing Samson.
Tell me, my love, what gives you strength?
Samson chuckled. Bend my strong arm, Samson mocked Delilah. Tie me with 7 fresh bowstrings, never dried. Then I'll be as weak as any other man. She smiled, She whispered sweet nothings into his ear. That night, as he slept, 7 bowstrings were wrapped around his arms. But when the Philistines came, Samson awoke roaring. The bowstrings snapped like threads before the fire. Samson, grinning. "You think you can tie me up, little dove?" Delilah's laughter hid her rage. The Philistines retreated into the shadows, defeated once more. But Delilah was not so easily deterred. The next night, her touch was gentler. Her smile was sweeter. Delilah whispered to the Samson,
You mocked me. You lied to me. If you love me, tell me the truth.
Samson said sternly to Delilah, "Tie me with new ropes that have never been used for work. Then I will surely fall." She tries again. He breaks free again. Delilah's voice became sharper, her touch heavier with urgency, and Delilah whispering, trembling. "How can I say, I love you when my heart is not with you?" The third attempt came. Samson claimed if she wove the 7 braids of his hair into the loom and tightened them with a pin, he would lose his power. Delilah did exactly that. But once again, when the Philistines leapt upon him, he rose, mighty as ever, ripping the loom from the ground. But then, something changed. Delilah's tears fell onto his chest.
You have humiliated me before my people. You have humiliated my love.
Samson's heart, so strong against armies, grew weak before a woman's tears. The days passed, the nights merged. Delilah urged and begged, her voice always soft, her touch always lingering. Samson's laughter faded, his shoulders slumped. The mighty warrior who had won the battle found himself defeated in his own heart. Finally, one night, under the heavy veil of fog and flame, Samson, hoarse, broken. "No razor has touched my head. I am a Nazirite, devoted to God from birth. If my hair were cut, my strength would leave me. I would be like any other man." Delilah held her breath. For a heartbeat, she was defeated. But then her fingers, fragile and deadly, stroked his hair tenderly. Delilah whispered seductively to Samson.
Sleep, my love.
Samson closed his eyes, exhausted, trusting, conquered not by sword or spear, but by stolen love. Then Delilah summoned the Philistine lords in silence. Gold glinted in their hands as they drew near. A man crawled out, a razor that glinted as if betraying itself. Amid the roar of torches and swirling fog, Delilah watches the sacred locks fall, one by one, to the dusty floor. She leaned toward him, whispering not with love, but with triumph. Delilah, coldly, hugs Samson. "The Philistines are attacking you, Samson." Samson awoken. He reached for the strength that had never once failed him. Terror flashed across his face as the Philistines rushed forward, and they seized him violently. clang of chains. Iron dug deep into his wrists. Samson, desperate. "Oh, God, please save me." Then they plucked out his eyes that had once burned with heavenly fire. They dragged him away, blind and broken, amid the jeers of Delilah stood in the torchlight, a shadow in the mist. The gold weighed heavy in her hands. Her face was unreadable. Victory, grief, and something much colder swirling in her eyes. The battle was over, but no one cheered. For what victory can be found in betrayal? They paraded Samson through the streets of Gaza. The children laughed. The elders spat at his feet. In the temple of Dagon, they made him grind grain like an ox to mock Israel's once unstoppable champion. Delilah's name whispers through the alleys of Philistine cities, a name of beauty, a name of treachery, a name that changes the fate of a nation. Yet deep in the darkness of the temple, chained and sightless, Samson's heart stirred. The same heart that had once faltered for love now beats again, not for a woman, but for the God who had never forsaken him. Saul came from the smallest tribe. Delilah's name whispers through the alleys of Philistine cities, a name of beauty, a name of treachery, a name that changes the fate of a nation. Yet deep in the darkness of the temple, chained and sightless, Samson's heart stirred. The same heart that had once faltered for love now beats again, not for a woman, but for the God who had never forsaken him. He lifted his scarred face to the sky. "Lord," he whispered through bloody lips, "remember me." Samson placed his trembling hands on the cold stone pillars. Jeers echoed around him. Children screamed with joy. Elders spat curses. No one saw the gathering force. No one felt the ancient power returning to the broken heart of a man. Samson braced himself. "Let me die with my enemies," he sighed. With a loud cry, he pushed. The pillars shook. Cracks split the stone. Dust and debris fell like rain. Mocking laughter turned to screams of horror as the temple shook under the wrath of heaven. In a final surge of power, Samson brought the mighty house down upon the lords, the soldiers, and himself. And in the echoes of the ruins, a single truth remained. God does not abandon those who turn to him.